All right, Nick, let's talk about the Florida Gators. Obviously, a few weeks ago, we saw a huge influx of recruits committing to the Gators after their official visits, showing that the Gators are truly back on top. They've been doing a lot of big things, but that's not the only big thing lately, Nick. Just the other day, they got an even bigger, probably the most massive recruit that they have gotten this entire offseason.
Miles, I could not agree more. This is absolutely huge news for the Florida Gators program. But before we dive into this report, Gators fans got a question for you guys to answer, as always, in the comment section below. Look, this is one of the traditional blue blood programs in the SEC. A lot of talented players, a lot of superstars have played for the Gators. But we're not going to ask you about the superstars today. We want to hear about the grinders, the lunch pill guys, the guys who were the backbone of this program, the guys who put in the work day in and day out, year in and year out for the Florida Gators and really made this program special. Give us an example of your favorite Florida Gators grinder in the comment section below. But all right, Miles, I'll throw it over to you now. What's the latest out of Gainesville?
Yeah, Nick, the Florida Gators have gotten a huge commitment to the trenches. Once again, building the most important parts of this team. We've got ourselves a 4-star offensive tackle to commit. And let's go over to the article from, of course, Hayes Fawcett at On3 Sports. He has a lot of great recruiting news. Probably the best. If you want to give him a follow over on Twitter, go check him out. But this says 4-star offensive tackle Fletcher Westfall of Leesburg, Virginia, Tuscarora High, I believe that's how it's pronounced, announced his commitment to Florida Monday morning. 6'8", 330-pounder chose the Gators over Clemson. That is very important. We'll get to that later, Nick. The Virginia offensive tackle joins coach Billy Napier in the Gators' top 5 class in 2024 team rankings. He's accompanied by quarterback DJ Lagway and safety Xavier Filsame, I believe. I could get that wrong as well, and others. Westfall ranks as the number 259 player in On3 rankings. He's also tabbed as number 19 offensive tackle and the number 5 player in the state of Virginia. Nick, this was a big one because this guy is being recruited by all kinds of big talent. There's Clemson, who was number 1 on the list up until the final minute when he decided to switch over to Florida. That was a massive steal there, but he was also being recruited by Sam Pittman down at Arkansas, by Georgia, and Auburn. Tons of SEC's other talented schools were coming after this guy. Clemson, one of the bigger powerhouses in college football as of late, was coming after him, but this guy decided to go down with Billy Napier in Georgia, showing once again that Billy Napier has his recruiting chops up to snuff. He's doing a lot of really great things. Now, as our resident offensive line expert, Nick, I want you to tell us, how big is this commitment to Florida, and really what does this mean for the overall bigger picture for the program?
So I think it's very interesting. And I love the fact that Florida, at least it seems this offseason, has done a great job in terms of actively targeting offensive linemen and defensive linemen in terms of rebuilding the core of their football team. We did another video, I think, about a month ago, talking about a number of big recruits that Florida got on the offensive and defensive lines. Because I know Florida is known for their skill players. They've had so many over the years, but I feel like the glory days of the Gators program, at least during the Urban Meyer era, they were incredible, absolutely unstoppable up front. They had a bunch of great offensive linemen, the Pouncey twins, of course. Ingram was one of the tackles. Great defensive line. Harvey was one of my favorite players. Dunlap, of course, had a phenomenal career in the NFL as well. They were stacked on both sides of the ball, offensive and defensive lines. And I think going back to that is really smart because I know we see a lot of teams, they really fall in love with the flashy quarterback, the flashy wide receivers. This is a Texas A&M kind of strategy where they seem to just, there's a 5-star receiver, a 4-star running back, 4-star quarterback. And they just try and bring in all these big names at these skill positions and they throw them together on Saturdays and it looks ugly, right? A&M was terrible last season. Hopefully they're a little bit better this season for Aggies fans, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Florida is being a lot smarter about it. They understand, okay, let's build on the offensive and defensive lines. Let's get a great quarterback. Let's get a great receiver, and let's build our entire team the smart way. Let's not collect talent. Let's build a team. And I think this commitment and this recruiting strategy from Billy Napier is proof of that. I think it's a great move by Florida. It will take a few years to get there. This is the class of 2024. I'm not saying it's going to be a quick turnaround for the Florida Gators back to being a top 5 program again, but I think they're definitely heading in the right direction.
Yeah, Nick, but a quick turnaround isn't necessarily what you want. When you're a guy from Florida, when you're a fan of the Florida Gators, guy or gal, could be a gal, Florida has a lot of sustained success in its history. And how did they do that? They built. They built through the trenches. They built through recruiting. They built back up the program. You don't want the flash in the pans, like you said, like Texas A&M going after a 5-star here, 5-star there. You want to get sustained success and recruiting at key positions. Get the talent in there, build the program, make it a desirable place to be. You want to protect the quarterbacks, so then you get the big quarterbacks, and those big quarterbacks will bring in the big time receivers, and it all builds on itself. And that's what Florida wants. They want to get back on top. They want to be back on competing against the Georgias, against the Alabamas. They want to be the top dogs in the SEC because, quite frankly, people do not view them as such lately. You have tons of teams that are over them in the SEC. I can name 4 or 5 right now that most people would put above Florida. But I think they're on their way back there, and I think this 2024 recruiting class is a big part of that.